So I was taking a Franklin Citizens course, and I lived here my whole life, and obviously I remember this back then, and always said, I can't believe they never found the culprit um, gentleman or gentlemen's that because we believe it's two, and two guys that had done this horrific act of murder. Um, so anyway, I was like, you know what, I want to do something. I came up with $500. And I had people say, that's not enough money. And I was like, well, tell me how much is the right amount, to turn in a murderer. And I want to say, I believe rapists also from some of the evidence. So that led into a lot of buzz. And of course, it was the phone number was not to call me, it was called the TIPS hotline, even though customers and people have been calling me and, I passed them off. So the exciting thing today is that the prosecutor's office, because I read old history on this, had a $5,000 reward. So, and Marie's going to tell you about the play, but that just helped. And then Michelos Tree Service helped, and we are up to 4,000 from the community and the 5,000 from the county. We have $9,000 now on the table to help someone bring the information forward. So the other disclosure is that the family told me that they exhumed her body, and that for obviously DNA has gone, because this is a 41-year-old case, that the DNA, the science has developed so far advanced that hopefully now that can help once again. So as far as the play, that was a huge success. I want to just give a compliment to all the actors that a lot of volunteer hours put in. It was a new experience for me, fascinating experience, especially for the cause. So Marie, would you like to talk about the play and the villagers and
Yes.
and I'll step aside.
And all of this came about as a result of a book that had been written about Sharon Thor by well-known Villagers actor, producer, director Nick Polino, who was a dear friend of me, Marie Fiorello. And he wrote the two-act play, and nobody really knew that it would come to light around this time. But it came to light in such an incredible fashion with two productions of it on August 26th and 27th. And Frank is too modest to say that he was a stellar part of it. And a star was born those performances. But the brilliant direction of Marie Fiorello, we did see one performance, and it was stirring, it was gripping, it was shocking, it was chilling, and so well done. Marie, tell us the rest of the story. I know you had a special relationship with Nick, and a brand new special relationship with Frank Resta. How did you get involved with this?
Well, thank you, PJ. I'm happy to talk about that. I was scrolling through Facebook one fine summer day, and I came upon a video that you had posted interviewing Frank about the Sharon Thor murder. And that really made me pay attention because I knew about that murder through my friend Nick Polino. He had tried to open the investigation back in 2003. When he ran into some roadblocks, he was frustrated about it, and what he does is he writes. Mm-hmm. So he wrote a play, and it was called Remembering Sharon. So I said, should I call this guy Frank? I don't know him from a hole in the wall. But I did call him, and I said, you might be interested to know that I have a script. I have this play that a friend of mine wrote. It was a neighbor of Sharon's and a lifelong friend of the Thor family. So I met with Frank a couple of times. We read over the script, and we decided to do it. I approached Villagers Theater, and I had been on Villagers board for many years. And I approached some of my friends there, and they were so kind and so generous to allow us to do it in their black box. They kind of squeezed us in between some productions and gave us the space to do it. And a producer that was wonderful, that gave me every single thing I needed, which is Darren Nye. He's the president over there now. And I asked some friends of mine if they would care to be in it, including my daughter Danielle, and they agreed. And then I didn't have a Frankie. And so this Frankie said, you know what, I think I can do that. And I'm like, I love it. I love it. And he was wonderful. You saw the play. He was so good.
Frankie was Sharon's brother.
Frankie was Sharon's brother, right. And he has a supporting role in the play. And Frank fit in absolutely perfectly into the production. And it was better than I could have hoped for, because the first night, the second day, we filled that theater, much to my delight. And we were also supported by the Franklin Township Police Department. On Saturday night, Captain Sean Hebben was there at the talkback, and he fielded questions from the audience. And on Sunday, we had Detective Sammy Hernandez, and he did the same thing on Sunday. And it was just wonderful. And I think seeing the interest that the community had in this case and in this play, I think has inspired them and given them a little nudge to really get moving on this investigation. So I'm very excited. It was just such a pleasure to do it. And
that this woman has not been exonerated from her trap, that she has not had the freedom to rest in peace, nor has her family. And that's what we're hoping will be the resolution of this, not just to bring a criminal to justice, but that the Thor family can finally lay it all to rest. Although, how do you ever lay it all to rest? But this part of it, I'm sure will give them a great deal of peace. Again, we did attend this performance, and it was designed to be read. And much of it was read. But it was read with passion. It was read with dignity. The blocking and the way it was staged, Marie, was just extraordinary.
I felt that we had to add movement to the show, because this is kind of like a hybrid, because usually a stage reading, you just have actors who are reading. But I picked the most wonderful actors. They are all seasoned veterans, except for Frank, but he acted just like them. He was wonderful. And they were just wonderful actors. I can't thank this cast enough. That was like a dream cast. And I think the movement had to be added, otherwise it would have been very static. And I believe that there has to be a little bit of visual interest to keep an audience's attention, and I think that we succeeded with that.
Yeah.
So
you absolutely did. It was very dramatic, very poignant, perfectly positioned in terms of where they were in explaining this story. It just had everyone's attention. And I've been to a million different productions of whatever, and you could hear a pin drop, Franklin. There was not one person whose eyes were not riveted on this cast and the words they were saying. And again, I have to say, Frank, you were amazing.
Thank you. And if someone wants to donate, I would love it to see it to be at an even 10,000. Here's the giving hands. Come in and see me. Make a pledge. And that's what it's all about. It would be really wonderful for the only unsolved murder in our town, Franklin Township. Thank you.
So where does somebody donate? Online?
Well, there's not really an online there, but they could call me and make the pledge to me, and I'll take care of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that number would be?
732-873-8900.
And as soon as we have more information, Franklin, we will be assembling again with Frank and Marie to give you further updates. But keep in mind, this started out as a class that Frank Resta attended. His interest was sparked at the injustice. He started with 500. That fund has risen to 4,000 in our community effort. So let's raise it at least another 1,000 get it to that 5,000 mark. And let's see if we can bring somebody forward to help give the Thor family the deserved rest and peace of mind that they so deserve. This is PJ Parker, Franklin reporter and advocate. Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Frank. And we will